What is going on, people, and welcome to another episode of Real Talk with Marcus McCoy. Of course, we were off for the summer. Glad to be back. Gonna have a great show. We got a great show planned for you guys. It's no secret that the election season is here, and it is definitely heating up. So, what better way to kick it off than to talk to um, someone here in the community, retired Command Sergeant Major Stephen Winters, who is actually a candidate for mayor right here in our city of El Paso. So, without further ado, we would like to introduce our guest, retired Command Sergeant Major Stephen Winters. Welcome.
Hey, how you doing?
I can't complain. Can't complain. Thank you for coming.
I appreciate the invite. That's for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. For those who are listening, please tell the listeners a little bit about yourself.
I'm Command Sergeant Major retired Stephen Winters. I spent 20 plus years in the military. I always tell people that my family business is service. I come from a long line of military people, all the way back to my great grandfather, who was a Buffalo soldier, to my pops, who's a retired Sergeant Major himself. God rest all of their souls though, to this day. But I'm a very active member in my community. I've always believed in community service and making sure that we take care of the youth in our country, because that's what our generational wealth is all about, is educating the youth and getting them to the next level, because they carry our future. When I talk about that myself, I talk what I preach. So I'm a proud father of 3 West Point grads, Air Force Academy grad, and then also I have my one child who had nominations to both, but she decided to go to a different route. She didn't want to be in the military, which I always call her my blessed child, who graduated from UTSA, and then one that is currently at UTEP in the engineering program, and then my other blessed child, my 10-year-old. Who is a proud GT student. So I'm a proud dad because it's all about education, and education is what enriches our country and our families.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for sharing. So we'll go ahead and we're going to dive right in. As we previously mentioned, you are a candidate for mayor here in El Paso. So we want to talk about some of the topics that came up as a point of interest for some of the people who will be voting and some of their thoughts. So with that being said, what are your thoughts on spending in the city of El Paso?
That's a question I get every single day that I'm out. So I've been out talking to people since last October. And that's when I decided to jump into thinking about running. I do want to mention real quick on before I talk about that spending part, is Carl Robinson, which was a great mentor of mine, which is an El Paso staple. He set historical records as far as being an elected official. He held the most terms of any city council member in El Paso history. A great man, and he was the one that said, "Hey," probably was a couple of weeks before he passed away. Said, "Hey, Mr. Mayor, it's time to strap it up and get going." And I said, "Okay, I guess that means I'm running for mayor." But spending in El Paso, and that's one of the things that we used to talk about all the time too, is spending is outrageous. How is a city like ours? We spend over $1 billion a year, but yet we have nothing. Our streets show it. Our streets are terrible. Our infrastructure is ridiculous. But yet we tax the crap out of our taxpayers. We tax the crap out of the property owners within inside the city to the max. In the state of Texas, El Paso is the highest rated property tax in Texas. Now, let's look at that. Texas is the 8th largest economy in the world. Texas has a bigger income than France, Germany, Japan, countries. All right. But yet, El Paso has the highest tax rate on property tax, but we're broke every year, every single year, and we don't get things done for the private citizen who's footing the bill. Um, we always talk about being the safest city here in El Paso. Uh, I don't know. I think we losing that every day because our budget for our police force is always being reduced, and so we can't hire the amount of candidates for our police department to fill the needs. I was sitting in a meeting one time and I heard the chief of police say we short 1,500 officers. And it's because we don't have the budget to be able to pay our officers. And every time we train a new officer, he or she 2 years later leaves to go to a better paying job. Now, how are we paying the highest property taxes within inside our city? Doesn't make sense. If you make a phone call to 911, okay, this is sad, and you say, hey, I have someone breaking into my house. Okay, this is factual stuff. You can look this stuff up. All right. It's a 2.5 hour response before an officer can come because we don't have enough officers on the police force inside the city of El Paso. Okay. And I just looked at El Paso PD. Okay. And we have a income that comes in off of property tax, okay, that gives us a shortfall. It's somewhere in the sense of 899 million, but we spend over a billion. But yet we still, again, I say we don't have no roads. Our roads are crazy. I'm sure you probably spend a lot of money in maintenance. The people watching spend a lot of money in fixing the suspensions on their car because we got potholes as big as the Lake Michigan sometimes when you drive down roads. It's patched so bad. The roads are patched so bad, it's like a quilt. You know how your grandma used to do those quilts and to be different patches and stuff like that? That's how our streets look like. It's kind of crazy.
Absolutely.
It's sad. It really is sad. And there's set to be even more increases. Okay. There's going to be more increases in your property tax. Now, some people will be like, well, I don't pay property tax. If you rent, you're paying the owner's property tax. That is being reflected inside your rent payment. So everybody's affected. Okay. Because rents are high. Rents are super high. If you want a decent place to live, you're paying at least $2,500 or more a month in rent because you got to cover the property taxes. Okay. So something needs to be done differently. All right. Now, I've been saying this here lately at a different of the mayor debates that we've been having. And I don't mean anything against our new city manager because she's a great woman. Um, she's going to do great things for El Paso, but $355,000 a year to pay for a city manager when we don't even have the budget already to do anything we need to do to fix inside the city is kind of ridiculous. Um, we could have did a little bit better than that. Austin only pays its city manager $165,000 a year, okay, to run its infrastructure and get things done. And we all know, because a lot of us, probably 80% of us, go to Austin sometime during the course of the year. We love it down there. Streets nice, got different types of facilities like Trader Joe's and Bucky's and all that different kind of stuff. You can hop over to the next city because it's close to it and go to Six Flags, whatever. Just all the conveniences are there, and it's a nice city. It's under a city manager uh, council format, and they're doing great things for $165,000 a year. Okay, so I don't see how we could afford to pay for the city manager. I'm not saying she's not worth it. Okay, that's not what I'm saying, and that's not what I'm getting at. And I'm not focused in on her as a person, but I'm focused in on the corrupted leaders that we have had, mayors, council people, and trying to figure out how do we balance the budget to also get things done here in El Paso correctly. Okay, the mayor only makes $60,000 a year. All right, the past three mayors have donated their salaries. What does that tell you? They're millionaires. Okay, so they're getting their money somewhere else. Now, if I become mayor, and when I become mayor, I need the 60,000. Okay, I need a 6,000, so I'm gonna take my pay, but I'm not gonna give myself pay raise. All right, and that's what I think is what we're probably trying to set up here in the future is raising the city council members and the mayor's pay. All right, now we just did that on the commissioners court. They just raised their salaries over $150,000 a year. That's going back to the property taxpayer because they raised the property tax value. But yet, what are we getting done? There's a lot of good field projects that they say they're going to do. All right, like the park over I-10. We all heard about that one, right? Sounds like the greatest thing we could do, right? And it is. But the state of Texas is paying half of that, right? Because that's part of the I-10 expansion. So they were gonna do that anyway. They were gonna build a structure across the top, just like they did in Dallas. Now, in the park that they got over I-10 in Dallas, it's the number one tourist attraction in the U.S. Okay, so it's a great thing, but that's already was going to be done. So it's not something that city council or the mayor was going to bring in the first place. It was already going to be done. Now, what's had to happen after that is we have to get the money to build the different things on top of the platform. So,
Mhm.
like they were talking about doing a field house, all the parks, grass, all the different structures and stuff like that. That's going to cost the taxpayer. Uh, if they get it done. But can we do it a different way? Sure, we can do it a different way. We can get donations. We can get big businesses to come in and say, "Hey, look, here's this area. Go ahead and build Trader Joe over top of it." All
Gotcha,
right,
gotcha.
Trader Joe on top of it. Now I'll cut you on some of the taxes and stuff that you have to pay. That way you can generate the jobs that we need here in El Paso, and they're not high-paying jobs, but they're jobs that El Pasoans want. Okay, and that way we can then generate taxes off of their income. Okay, so there's different ways you can spend this thing about like getting money, but we got to bring in some of those things.
Gotcha. So, with that being said, what are the duties, powers, and responsibility of the mayor of El Paso? Because you kind of mentioned the city, the council slash city manager format, but what are the duties under this particular council city manager format for the mayor?
Okay, so yeah, so there's two types of formats here in the state of Texas. So a lot of the smaller metropolitan areas, they still run on what's called the mayor council format. Now, El Paso 20 some odd years ago used to be on the mayor council format, but they got it. They came into thinking that things could be managed a little bit better because DFW, Austin, San Antonio, all those different metropolitan areas run on what's called a council city manager format, and they figured that you can get council to be able to do things right, come up with legislator, come up with the ideas that the people want, and then have the city manager do the work. Kind of like you have a commander and first sergeant, right? So the commander is the city council, the city manager is the first sergeant, all right? Getting all the work done, managing all the projects that have to be done that the commander is given to them, right? So that's the kind of, in that sense, in the military way of looking at things, that's what a council city manager format is like. Now, the mayor in all that, the mayor has no power. Okay, so the mayor is supposed to give guidance. So again, now we take that same commander first sergeant outlook, and we throw a battalion commander in it. Okay, that's the mayor. So he or she doesn't run the city. Okay, that's left to the enlisted and non-commissioned officers. All right, but he or she, it doesn't actually run the company. That's the city council, but he or she gives the guidance for them to operate off of. So if there's ever a vote in city council and it's even, because we have eight city council members. If we had nine, we probably would never see the problem. But we have eight. So if there's a tie, the mayor then cast a vote. But if that doesn't happen, the mayor has no say so in it. So the mayor, the way I see it, should be the sounding board using the mayor platform to voice what the people want. So if there's a city council member that's sitting there and they're not doing what their delegates, their precincts, because in each district you break down into precincts. There's 255 precincts within inside the city. So I look at precincts as neighborhoods. There's 255 neighborhoods inside of the city of El Paso, and all of them fall in a district. Okay, that district rep is that city council member. So the mayor should be going out talking to all those different precincts, building building little small groups that are the true voice of the citizens. And if that district rep, which is that city council member, is not doing what's needed to be done, that mayor should be vocal on all news outlets, all media outlets, all radio stations, saying, "Hey, we need to get this done, and I can't get Marcus McCoy to get it done." All right. So Marcus McCoy don't want to listen. So what we need to do in the next 2 years, next 2 years, we need to get somebody else into the office and remove him. So helping the people, educating the people on what's going on instead of just sitting at City Hall. And I ain't saying that, certain mayors just sitting at City Hall, but I ain't seeing what I don't see. So that's what I want to do coming into this type of format, is be the true platform and using the mayor platform to do what the citizens actually want, and getting city council to do it. Because at the mayor, you should be the guy, kind of like what? Like in the police department, they got internal investigations, right? All right. Well, the mayor should be the investigator, making sure these guys and women, these men and women that sit on city council are doing exactly what the people want. So that way we can run our city properly. Um, People want simple things here in El Paso. All right. And it's mostly what I just was talking about. I'm going to start going on every single day and putting on social media all the different things that people want. Six Flags is one. Okay. They want a Hurricane Harbor Schlitterbahn. They want a water park. They
Mm-hmm.
want a cheesecake factory. How long has people in El Paso been talking about getting a cheesecake factory? That's something the mayor can do, because the mayor should be able to go into the governor's office in the state of Texas. Because I'm telling you, Governor Abbott has big power, and Governor Abbott can push all those industries and those companies to El Paso. Okay, because remember when I opened up this show and I said, hey, Texas is the eighth largest economy in the world. Well, who governs that? The governor of the state of Texas.
Don't forget to throw Waffle House in there too. I know you were talking about those other places, but throw a Waffle House in there too.
That
I
one comes up a lot. It comes
Marcus
up a
like
lot, and that goes on teaching people how to uh, become small business owners, and using franchising as a means and an avenue to generate wealth. See, those are the things we need to do too. Because if we do that, and I'm glad you brought up Waffle House, because that's one of the things you can do is we can educate. The mayor should be able to bring programs in to find people and find folks in these precincts and stuff like that, and say, hey, look, let's look at this. Let's look and see if you can become a owner of a Waffle House. And once you become an owner of one, become an owner of 10 in the next 10 years, and 20 and 30 as you grow. And then you got that generational wealth for your family. But the other big thing you got is we got tax dollars that goes into our city, that we can start fixing some of our streets, our infrastructures, and start doing better things for the people.
Gotcha. So I want to kind of double back to something you were saying earlier. The analogy where you were using the command in the first sergeant. There might be some people now. We know we are in El Paso, which is pretty much a very military friendly town, but there are some people who may not understand what we're saying in terms of that language, right? But we were just basically what he was talking about, the roles and responsibilities at that certain level, where in one situation, so basically like a commander and a first sergeant, or they are the two overseers for a company, which is could be small company, large company, depending on the infrastructure. But I want to go back to the military piece because I feel like this is definitely important. Now, I do understand that because you were in the military as a retired command sergeant major, you do bring a unique perspective on a lot of different things, whether it be from a strategic standpoint, or just an overall view of being in different places in the world. And so I definitely want to say thank you for your service.
Thank
But
you.
with that being said, because you have that experience, um, and this is something that came up too in terms of questions from viewers. How do you feel that experience, being in the United States Army, uh, having deployments, leading soldiers, things of that nature? How do you think that has prepared you in now this new season in your life where you seek to be the mayor of El Paso? How has that prepared you?
So I think because of the different things that I've had the opportunity to see, all the schooling I've had the opportunity to be able to do uh, and be a part of, um, and then working at the levels that I had the opportunity to work at, uh, learning from different commanders, learning from different sergeant majors, and learning from just different people in general. Uh, Also having the opportunity to work with different city leaders because of the military. And then changing that over and taking that experience that I have and then working in the communities because you have to do a lot of community work. Also, nation building. Okay, all right. Having the opportunity to set up government, set up organizations in other countries, teaching them how government works and government operates. Um, Getting that experience in helps out a lot. And then just the bottom line of understanding research and also budgets. You know, it's in the military. We run $1 million budgets uh, at the company and battalion levels. So it's not something new for us. We understand the value of budgets. Uh, and so the last thing I'll leave it on is the leadership piece. Okay, being able to delegate, all right, and understanding what delegate truly means. When you delegate things, you delegate it down to the lowest level, and then you let them work it. You just follow up on it, and you follow up, and you follow up, and you follow up, and you follow up, and you allow for your leaders you delegate it to actually put everything in motion. Now, if they do it wrong, you got to understand it. And you can't be a tyrant, all right, and jump down somebody's throat because they did something wrong. But you can get down there and you talk to them and you say, hey, look, yeah, we didn't do that right this time, but let's look at some things, some other things that we can do better and get that mission completed. But if you don't have that leader, all right, and in this case, the mayor that is going to what? Follow up, all right, because that's what the mayor should be doing, following up on all these different things, making sure they're getting done. Doesn't mean he or she is doing it, but it's making they're getting done and they're getting done in the right way. So the military has taught me how to do that. So running things on a large scale is just too easy to do uh, when you've come from a military background.
Gotcha. I want to go to some comments. Can we pull up the comments from El Paso woman? Just want to make sure I get to some of the viewers and their comments. Can we put it up? All right. Okay. I agree that the mayor's role should be more visible because it hasn't been that way for some time. What do you plan to do about affordable housing?
Okay, yeah, affordable housing. So we really do need to look at that. Those are things we need to do. Okay, we have the housing authority that falls underneath the city manager. Okay, so all these different departments fall underneath the city manager, and the mayor. Uh, Not that the mayor has total control over the city manager, but that city manager could fall and lose that job if the mayor pursues different avenues to remove him. So in a sense, the mayor does have control over the city manager, right? In a roundabout way. That would be another show to talk about that. But some of the things we need to do about affordable housing, we need to look at where we're at, and that's going to start with property tax. Okay, so if we don't start bringing in some of these industries and some of these different companies and some of these different franchises and stuff like that that can supplement the tax dollar, housing costs was going to continually go up. It's going to go up. It doesn't matter. It has to because something has to pay for something. And so right now, over the past, what I've done my research, I'm only going back 20, 30 years. And that's what we've been doing, is steady putting the tax burden on the property owner. So having affordable housing is never going to happen until we start bringing in some of those industries. Now, people have to understand. So that's what when I talk about educating the El Paso citizen, all right, the true worker, the one who is actually the working person who's out there working for a living, having, you know, all the whole family stay home just to pay for a home they live in because they don't make enough money. If we start bringing in some of these different companies, we might be able to raise our wages. If we can raise our wages, okay, then we have more sources to pull tax dollars from and try to level off the property tax. But until we do that, housing costs is going to continue to go up. And so those are some of the things we need to do. Now, I would love to work with GEPAR, um, and, and and that's the Realtors Association, okay, the Greater Realtors Association, and see what we can do with developers and builders and different people in the housing industry to be able to build more affordable homes. One of the great projects that they did start is the project in the far northeast, where they plan on building somewhere in upper 5,000 homes in that one subdivision over there, that sub area, which they're supposed to keep the houses down into the low 200s. That way people can come in. Now, one of the things I'm glad we brought this up too about the affordable housing, because one of the things that I want to do on day one, I want to go in, all right, and I want to find out how we can relieve property tax on those who are 70 and older. Okay. Now, the average person lifespan of a person here in the United States is probably 75, right? Somewhere between 75, 76 years old. At least the last 5 years of your natural life that you don't have to pay property tax. But on the other end, when we lose that property tax money, we're giving young people. Okay, I always say young people, and I always refer things back to the military. That E1 to E6, all right, that are go getters and people that want their own and they want different things. And we always talk about how we're going to keep our people here, our valuable people here when they graduate UTEP. Let's give them programs that are going to help them uh, buy those affordable homes that we try to keep the developers and the builders and the realtors keeping those homes in the low 200s. That way they can go in. Now that then generates what? Property tax. Okay, a whole nother group. So for every one citizen that's 70 years or older, we grab 10 new property owners, all right, in the ages of 21 uh, to 35, all right, and we're helping people get in, and we'll replace it. So every 10 to 1. And I think that's something we can do. And that's something the mayor needs to put on his or her agenda, all right, and work with city council, all right, in conjunction with the city manager, because the city manager is the one that needs to do the research, all right, and then all the different council members need to come together and we talk to the developers, the realtors, and the builders. And I think in the next 10 years, we really can do some things with new owners, people, home ownership. That used to be the American dream, owning a home.
So let me turn the page. Let me ask this question. What do you think when we're talking about voters? What do you think there are some aspects that voters neglect when selecting a candidate for
They
your
don't.
particular office that you're seeking? And
They don't. Well, first thing is they don't go vote. So it's proven fact. So the last three mayor elections, there's on average. So I'm just gonna give you the average over the last three elections. 80,000 people that actually voted for the mayor in the elections,
why do you think that this interested in voting?
because people here feel like it's corruption, it's corrupt, it's just like Juarez. Uh, Government's corrupt, so why even bother to vote? Because they're going to do what they want to do regardless, and they're going to steal money from the taxpayers. So people accept it, so they just accept it. All right. Now, what's even worse, okay, is when you do get the 80,000 to vote, right? and it goes to a runoff, this is really what's really, really sad. You get less than 4,000 people come back to vote in the runoff. So less than 4,000 people have a say so in what goes on in the mayor's office, which is just totally crazy. So I'm just trying to get the word out. Now I don't use the banners. I don't litter people's mailboxes because half the time when I know myself, if I get some in the mail, I just throw it in the garbage can anyway. All right, and all those banners that are sitting out there on the streets and stuff like that. Um, it seems like an eyesore, and one day it's against code anyway. Somebody's going to take it down. But I think the being in people's homes, actually communicating with people through social media, I'm hoping that I can get more people into the ballot, actually voting for people, and actually not doing name recognition, but actually doing research and understand what the candidates really are about and what they want to do. So I just feel that mom tells dad what to do, dad tells the kids what to do, the kids tell their kids, their grandkids, the whole 9 yards. They talk to the family. Veterans, if they have a veteran in their family, veterans tell what their family needs to do, and maybe we'll get that 80,000 people that normally come, and they'll say, okay, Winters is the one we want because he's common sense. He's like us. He used to live paycheck to paycheck, uh, and he also is hurting in the current economy.
Okay, let me bring up this. I want to bring up this comment, the last comment. Can we bring up the last comment from El Paso woman? Yeah. All right. It says, what do you plan to do? Affordable housing for young people as well, not home ownership. What experience do you have that the other candidates don't?
Okay, so I think I covered the part about what we're going to do for young homeowners, but I'll just recap it. Is getting those programs together so we can get people 21 and older. And I'm not just saying you can't be 18 and own a home, right? Because you can, but just try to get that dynamic of that working class and get them in home ownership, which will down keep them here in El Paso. So we should be able to give some type of incentives, some type of down payment assistance in the whole 9 yards. Even though down payment assistance programs are available, but we can also add from the city to help them get into a home by working with the different mortgage companies. Because the mortgage companies work for the city, okay? Because they can't do the things that they do without working for the city. So there's people you can talk to be able to help get these young people into homes, right, the right way. Um, the next thing is I think it's about rent, right? I think what people want to know is how we cap rent. If you start capping things, then we become a socialist uh, economy, right? And we're not communists, we're not socialists, we're not that type of people. We're in a capitalist where people are given the opportunity to be able to make their worth. So if you start capping things, you're cutting people off on what they're worth, and then you stop competition. Okay, so then you cut back on competition. But if we can get more homeowners, okay, then we don't have that problem because your mortgage is what your mortgage is. All right, and then we control how appraisals are done through the city. Okay, we control that, and there is a cap by the state on what you can do, but we don't need to cap it out every time we have the opportunity to cap it out. It's not necessary to do to people, and so that needs to be taken care of. Okay, and those are the things that people are not educated on, and they don't understand the workings of it. And so once you start teaching everybody the workings on it, and everybody is knowledgeable with it, it's just like everybody knows what's in a Big Mac, right? All right, so that ain't no secret no more, right? And so people understand it, so they choose to either eat it or not eat it. And so that's the same thing goes with uh, rent, home ownership, mortgages, how a house is built. Let's educate. Let's provide more programs that are going to educate the people. Let's try to get the people to come in that don't want to come in, educate them on the process so they understand it is obtainable and it's reachable.
I want to bring up one other comment. Can we go to the comment from Black Information Exchange?
And I just saw that question, right? So can let me finish that last part. What I have experience I have over the other candidates, and I just want to make it plain and simple. I'm a normal guy. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not a billionaire. I don't have a war chest. I don't have TV4, NBC, ABC, Telemundo saying I'm coming in with a war chest. I'm coming in with only my small wallet, which I open up every day and I blow in it and it's empty. All right. That's what I'm coming in. I'm coming in with what the 500,000 plus registered voters are. I'm that person. So give me that opportunity because I am you. So I understand what hurts you. I understand what you want. And I do care about what you want. And I ain't trying to get rich off of you. And I'm not corrupt. So that's the difference between me and them. All right. They have to take it the way they want to take it, of what I just said. If it offends them, then you already know what you already know.
All right, go to the Black Information Exchange. That one, uh, that comment. Okay, full establishment of one thing. What about our youth? Military spouse employment, affordable housing. You already touched affordable housing. Access to adequate medical care and affordability for that care. One great thing is that quality of life is improving, especially via parks and recreations. What are your thoughts on that?
So, military spouse employment. So we know we already have a program for that. That is set in place, but the problem that I see here in El Paso is that we're not enforcing it. So when spouses come in, they should have spousal preferences with inside the city with jobs, um, be it those jobs. Some of those jobs are with Walmart, Amazon, or if it goes all the way down to mom and pops. Okay, we need to put something together with our veterans, uh, um, our veterans group. So the mayor has groups, and each side is thinking he has liaisons, and so we need to be working with those individuals to work with local businesses also to place those spouses coming in with the program that already exists. It's just enforcing the program. Okay, it's kind of like the police department. We need to get the police department to enforce certain ordinances. We don't need to create new ones. So we need to get down to the nitty gritty. That's what I was talking about with oversight. The mayor needs to have oversight on those things. Okay, I got it. The mayor only gets paid $60,000 a year, uh, but $60,000 to me, that's a good supplement for myself. I'm gonna work my rear end off for everybody in the city because I know what you need. So I'm gonna be oversighting all those different things. The mayor has a big job to do. They just need to focus in on instead of creating new things for them to do to make them feel important or maybe to be corrupt. I don't know which one it is, but I just know that I want to get in there and actually do these types of things that people are asking questions about. Uh, Adequate medical care. Okay, we need to get programs that already run in line with Social Security, Medicare, um, with TRICARE, with all the different agencies that are already there, Blue Cross Blue Shield. Okay, we need to get in there and build groups or build departments that are going to actually work to get all these people signed up for what the federal government and the state government already authorizes. Okay, because you hear a lot of things talking about, well, they do it for the migrants, they do it for the migrants, but there are programs for military, for not just, I didn't mean to say military, because there is programs for military people, it's TRICARE. Okay, but there is programs for tax-paying citizens that are already existing. But we need to do is connect the two together, and that way people have the adequate health care. But we need to do that at the city level, and we're not doing that right now. Uh, I know they said quality of life. Okay,
Mhm.
everybody's great. We got parks and recs, but it's really not true because a lot of the areas, more than 50% of the areas, don't have parks. Parks are closed down because the funding's not there to get it done, and they're trying to play catch up on it. But if you're in that area that you just got that new parks, man, that's great, and they look good. All right, but the majority of people want conveniences. They want conveniences. We talked about Cheesecake Factory. We talked about all these different things and stuff like that. All these trademark organizations that you travel to Albuquerque, you travel to Austin, you travel to San Antonio. I mean, daggone it, some people even travel to Nashville for a different place for a convenience that we very well could have here in El Paso, which will improve that quality of life. Also, improving quality of life is repairing our roads because they're just terrible.
So let me ask this question. This is $1 million question, and I'm sure you've probably been asked this probably more times you can count ever since you decided to enter your name in the race. At the end of the day, what if you're talking to the listeners, what makes you overall the best person for to be the next mayor of El Paso?
Because I believe in people. I've been serving my whole life. I come from a family of service. Um, I'm not a family of politicians, so that's the difference. All right, between service and politicians. So yeah, a lot of politicians say, "Oh, they serve." Okay, but are you serving or are you serving? Okay, because you can serve in which you getting all back, but are you serving to take care of the people because you're in the same situation that they're in, all right? And you're looking at things from their perspective, and you're trying to make change for them. You know, this whole downtown initiative about uh, building downtown and making it better. I'm not against it, and that's not what I'm going to say. Okay, but don't serve up a soup sandwich that people don't want. Okay, give them what they want, and then if you think they want it, educate them and get them to understand what the benefit is. Okay, so this is the part where I'm saying about the initiative is great, but you got to educate them. Okay, and continue to try to educate them, even though they're resistant to take the education. But you got to give it to them. All you got to give it to them in the way that they understand it, so they can see why it would be better. Okay, all right. Just like the Chihuahua Stadium, this the Southwest Stadium. Okay, everybody pushed back again against it, and then Mayor Cook was like, "Forget this, man. We're gonna make this happen." All right, and he's still taking backlash from it today, but it's sold out every season, and then it's being used for other things that are sold out. Okay, so that's why I'm saying the arena thing is not a bad thing. It's going to cost the taxpayers a lot of money, but in the end, it's going to bring in great things that they actually want. But educate them on it, let them know why. Don't just tell them you're going to have it, you need it, and we're going to do it. But let them know what it's going to do over the next 10 years. It might not benefit, you or I, because we might not be here and the good Lord might call us home. All right. But it will benefit your kids, your grandkids, your great grandkids over time. And that's what's been neglected here in El Paso is everybody wants immediate gratification, and immediate gratification doesn't grow you. All right, it doesn't grow you. And then debt is not bad debt. All right, all debt is not bad debt. Okay, for you to become wealthy, you have to create debt. All right, but you got to create the right debt. And so this $1 billion debt, we need to get it turned into good debt that's actually going to build and make El Paso one of the cities in Texas that everybody wants to come to. This could be one of the biggest tourist attractions in the nation, all right? Because we're closer to things in Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado than we are actually in Texas. So let's bring all those individuals here for good things that we have here because we have a lot, especially the food.
Yeah, yeah. So we want to take a couple more questions slash comments. Can you bring up the second to last, or no, the last comment from El Paso woman? Last comment slash question. Well, question. Just trying to make sure we get the listener opportunity. Okay, here we go. So Black Information Exchange says so. More taxes? Question mark. I think that's in terms of bringing
Just so
in.
they're saying, I think I get what they mean. So I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you like everybody else does, because that's what people do so they can get elected, and everybody believes it. But people should not have short memories, because every election, oh, we're gonna reduce the taxes and I'm gonna reduce it, and it never changed. Taxes continue to go up. Um, that's what I mean by not all debt is bad debt. We just got to understand how to manage it and run it correctly and invest it the right way. I'm not saying that taxes are going away because it's just not going to happen, right? Because that's our country's ran off that. We're taxed. You tax at the federal level, the state level. Well, in the state of Texas, you're not taxed on your income, all right, but you are taxed if you own property in the state of Texas. Okay, so when I say that you're taxed at state level, sales tax, property tax, there's different taxes that you're taxed on here in the state of Texas. All right, so Texas ain't relieving you completely of taxes, uh, but then also at the city and the county. So if you actually look at your tax report, people will be amazed how much they're being taxed already, right? So we can actually slow it down. Okay, slow it down. It's still going to go up, but we need to have our income reflect the rises in taxes. So that's why we got to bring in companies uh, to absorb some of the tax burden from the property tax payer. As soon as we do that, things can get better. You can feel a little bit better about what's going on, and you can actually see it. Okay, so yes, taxes are going to continue. Now, the only place that I see you can stop taxes is what I was telling you about earlier was is people 70 and older. You can relieve that tax. Just like when you're a 100% disabled veteran, all right, you don't pay any property tax. That relief is taken from you. Okay, that's something the city can do for our elderly that have gotten us here, right? Think about those people. Some of those people have owned homes since they were 20 years old. That's 50 years of carrying the burden of taxes for the people in El Paso. Why not give them 5 years or more? I love to see people living into their hundreds, right? But if you just go off the national average, giving them 5 years of not having to pay a tax burden, what's wrong with that? That's when you can say no taxes for someone. All right. But then, like I told you, a 1 for 10, one not paying taxes, 10 more new taxpayers. We can do that. It's just about educating, giving the people the tools, and giving them the opportunity to be able to do it. And we can do that. If you're a real estate agent, you should love that method because you can sell a whole bunch of homes.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, you are in the comment section, you are really popular there. Multiple questions asked. So it's good because people want to know the answer to these questions. We're gonna get one more question before we get out of here. Can you bring up the last one from El Paso woman? All right. It says so are millionaires unqualified to lead? Do they not care? Are they all corrupt? I think that was going back to previous. It was earlier in the segment.
So, like I was saying, I said if those individuals uh, took that personal, then you know what you know, right? So I'm not saying that. I'm not saying all millionaires are corrupt because without millionaires, we don't have jobs for people. So millionaires create jobs, and those are jobs that we need. All right. So I'm not saying a millionaire is not qualified to be mayor, city council member, president of the United States. What I'm saying is that we've had millionaires be the mayor here in El Paso, because I'm specifically talking about the mayor of El Paso. So we've had that for the past 20 years. Where are we right now? Patched up roads, pothole roads, high property tax, and the whole 9 yards. And everybody's been preaching the same thing. So the only thing I'm saying is give a young veteran. All right, I'm 57 years old. I said, give a young veteran an opportunity to try it for 4 years and let's see if it works. All right. Because I'm telling you, I want to do what the actual people want done. All right. So that's what I'm highlighting when I'm talking about a military. I'm not saying they're unqualified, and I'm not saying they're corrupt. All right. They got to answer that question. Okay. But I'm telling you, as a taxpayer and a property taxpayer in the city of El Paso, you need to start doing your research. You need to start looking at some things and seeing where your tax money is actually going. Okay. You tell me, All right. You tell me why our city is the way it is, and you run out of El Paso to go somewhere else to have a good time. Doesn't make any sense. So the only thing I'm saying is give this guy right here, the first guy at the top of the ballot. I'm number one on the ballot. Okay, you ain't even got to go no further. You just got to check the first guy off. You ain't even got to remember my name. All you got to do is check the first person on the ballot off. Okay, that's Stephen Winters. All right. Um, you can say you can call me what you want to call me because I've been called different names. I've been called homophobic. I've been called Republican, and I'm a conservative, but I'm middle of the road. All right. I voted Democrat in the last presidential election because I felt the Republican candidate was corrupt. Okay. So I changed it. I voted for Obama. All right. I vote for who I do the research on and who I feel that is the best candidate for the job. And so that's what I'm asking for you guys to do is to give me an opportunity because I feel like I'm the best candidate for the job. So you ain't got to remember my name like I was telling you. Just check off the first person on the list. Okay. God set that up. Okay. Because I'm a believer in God. All right. And God blessed me with pulling the number one out of the hat. And I was the last guy to pick numbers, the last guy. So it had to be God, okay, who put me up there. And God, and I go back to Carl Robson, okay, saying Winters is the right guy for El Paso right now. So just give me the opportunity. Everything is putting in place. Everything is there. You can see you like what I'm saying, and I know I can get that stuff done. Um, just got to get the opportunity to do it. So I'm not saying the millionaire is corrupt. I'm not saying the millionaire is unqualified. It's not what I'm saying. But I am telling them individuals, look at if you take that personal, you got to look at yourself.
All right. Bring up this last comment from El Paso woman, and then we're gonna go ahead and get the final thoughts. I want to know where can we find more about your proposed policies and experience? Maybe a platform to follow or something of that nature.
You just got to follow my Instagram. Like I told you, I'm not a millionaire, so I don't have 20,000, 100,000, $1 million to spend on a campaign. I can't even buy a banner. How about that? Okay, if that don't tell you who I am, I'm one of you. All right, but I do tell everybody, you can go out buy a banner, you can go out buy flyers, you can go out and buy a bus bench. I'll call it $100, man. Put vote Winters for mayor. Help me help you. All right. My platform, everything is on my Instagram, everything is on my Facebook about what I want to do. And like I said, I'm going to get on there and I'm going to start talking about all these different policies and how we can get these things done. I'm going to start doing that daily because El Pasoans have a short memory. Okay. So if I had to start talking about it back in October, you would have never remembered it. But if I start talking about it now, all the way up to election day, all you have to do is go into my Instagram or my Facebook, go down all my stuff, start clicking on it and watching it and hear me talking about it, hear me talking about it, hear me talking about it. All right. I'm a big believer that if you hear it and you actually do it, then you learn it and you retain it. All right. If I put it all written, you're not going to read it. Okay. You're just not going to read it. Most people are not going to read it. So I'm going to verbalize it and I'm going to have it out there. And that's where I'm at. So if you see my Facebook page and my Instagram page, and you also can email me. And I have a small campaign staff. You know, we're 5 people strong, but they're helping me organize everything, answer everything, and I'll also come to your home. So if you text us, all right, if you text us, or if you email us, or if you put it onto our social media that you want us to come, we'll sit down with 15 or more people in your home and I'll answer questions unscripted. You ain't got to send me you don't have to send me no questions in advance. I didn't even look at any questions that were sent to me in advance yet. I don't do that. All right. I'm who I am. I'm honest about what I am. And I know what I know. So, hey, have me come to your home. I've been doing that since last October. That's the best way to get your information.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, I want to thank you for coming on. Been a great segment. answer a lot of questions. I think you pretty much allow people to see who you are, give them information they need to make an informed decision. Uh, but before we get out of here, I always do this thing where we have like closing thoughts. So as we get ready to close, what do you want to leave the listeners with?
Remember the guy with the bow tie, because I'm doing that for a signature. All right. If you don't remember anything, you remember, the guy with the bow tie. That's the guy with the bow tie. All right. Remember the guy with bow tie. That's Stephen Winters. All right. I got that from a friend of mine. That's what he did, and he built his company to be really really big. He's one of the best lawyers in the state, and I say in the state of Texas, but of course I truly believe in the city of El Paso. But one thing you remember: trust a veteran sometimes. All right, a veteran that means what he says. Okay, and I mean that I'm going to do the job for you, and if not, I won't even run for a second term. I won't. But I'm gonna work my rear end off the 4 years that you give me, and I'm gonna make it happen. All right, because that's all I'm looking at right now. I'm not looking at a re-election. I'm looking at what I can do actually for the working class citizen. So don't forget the guy with the bow tie. All right, all right, and don't forget the guy with the bow tie is the first name on the ballot. So you don't even have to remember my name. All you got to do is remember bow tie number one on the ballot, and just mark it off and watch us change El Paso.
So my final thoughts are your vote matters. And we got a lot of elections coming up. Your vote matters. Um, and that's pretty much it. Your vote matters. You got to go out there and make the decision, and make an informed decision. But uh, I invite you guys to tune in to the next episode of Real Talk with Marcus McCoy. But until then, El Paso, it's been real.